Stephen Akinmurele was born in Nigeria in 1978. At the age of 10 he moved to the Isle of Man in United Kingdom. He moved there with his mother after his parents split up. In 1996 he moved to Blackpool, where he worked as a civil servant in a benefits office by day, and as a barman at a fun pub by night. Blackpool has been a destination for generations of Manicheans, lured by the Tower, the Pleasure Beach, the Victorian splendour of the Grand Theatre and the Winter Gardens, the Opera House, the piers, as well as fish and chips on the front, saucy postcards and candy floss. But for Stephen, it is believed, the town provided an opportunity to seek new victims. In 1995, at the age of 17, Stephen Akinmurele started his killing spree. During his crimes as a serial killer, he was known to rob, strangle and murder his victims. He was known to kill at the home of the victim. At the time of his crimes he was living with his girlfriend Amanda Fitch in Ballasalla on the Isle of Man. All of his victims in the case were senior citizens. The lead investigator in the case noted that killer had a pathological hatred of old people. He was dubbed Cul-de-sac Killer due to his choice of elderly victims living in quiet suburban streets. His first two known victims were Eric Boardman 77, and his wife Joan Boardman 74. One of their daughters discovered their bodies. Mr. Boardman's body was lying in the hallway under a toppled wardrobe and his wife's body was on the floor in the living room. Police found a bloody couch next to Mr. Boardman's body bearing Stephen's fingerprints. Police believe he entered the couple's home on October 30. He strangled Mrs. Boardman before attacking her husband with the couch. He left Mr. Boardman for dead, but he recovered and no doubt decided to tackle him. Mr. Boardman put up a terrific struggle in defense of himself and his wife. It was Mr. Boardman's actions that led to Stephen leaving behind incriminating evidence including the couch. He used batteries bound together to make a couch or bludgeon. They found this bloody couch beneath Eric's body. Even after examination of the bodies, they found only signs of strangulation. His third murder was Jemima Cargill, 75. She was killed in her flat about 5 days after he murdered his first two victims. 4 days after the murder of Ms. Cargill, Stephen Akinmurele was suspected of murdering the elderly Dorothy Harris in February 1996 by arson. Once the Lancashire police caught on, they reopened other files of unsolved arson cases resulting in death in northwest England over the previous 2 years. He was arrested after the bodies of Joan Boardman and her husband Eric were discovered by one of their daughters at their home in Seafield in October. Serial killer Stephen Akinmurele, dubbed as the Cul-de-sac Killer, was active for 4 years between 1995 to 1998, known to have 5 confirmed and 7 possible victims. Prior to his spree he had committed crimes, and served time in jail. In the weeks following his arrest, Stephen was charged with 3 more murders, including that of Jemima Cargill 75, who ran a guest house. He murdered her, then set fire to the house to conceal the evidence. He was also charged with the murder of Dorothy Harris 68, a partially deaf and blind pensioner who died in a house fire in Ballasalla on the Isle of Man in February 1996, and Marjorie Ashton, who died in a house fire in the same town in 1995. The charges were discontinued due to legal complexities over his nationality, although the case was due to be reviewed by the Isle of Man Attorney General after his trial in Blackpool. Detectives believe he could have been responsible for at least 2 other murders on the island. While in custody, Stephen confessed to 3 further murders which police do not believe he committed. They suspect he made the false confessions to throw detectives off his real motive for murder, that he liked to kill old people. He claimed he had killed a rambler on the Isle of Man and buried his body on a cliff overlooking the sea. Police discovered a gun bearing his fingerprints near the location, but despite extensive digging no body was found. Stephen, who seriously assaulted a police surgeon while in custody, tried to kill himself. He left a note saying he regretted what he had done and expressed fears he would have been driven to kill again. After his arrest he was placed in a segregated unit and in August 1999, tried to kill himself by overdosing on medication. He was put in the prison's healthcare ward on self-harm watch, but staff then found he had a sharpened toothbrush and fantasized about taking a female member of staff hostage. Prison hospital doctor said Stephen Akinmurele told him he would lie in bed at night thinking about murder. In the note found in his pocket after his death, Stephen said, "I know it's not right always thinking like this, but it's always on my mind. I can't help the way I feel. What I did was wrong, I know that, and I feel for them, but it doesn't mean I won't do it again. I'll keep on having this feeling I'm going mad because I can't take any more of this, and that's why I'm saying goodbye." Stephen was moved back to the segregated wing, still on self-harm watch, where he killed himself 2 days later. He had a history of mental illness and had committed crimes against the elderly from the age of 11. He was drawn to situations in which he would encounter the elderly, with the police asserting he got a kick out of killing old people. He confessed to a number of the murders but died by suicide before his trial. The case is notable due to Akinmurele's long-standing hatred of elderly people. Stephen Akinmurele killed himself in Manchester prison in August 1999. He hung himself by a window with a ligature, just weeks before his trial. In his suicide note, he admitted to the crimes, saying that he regretted them and feared he would kill again. He wrote to his mother that he couldn't take any more of the feeling like how he does now, always wanting to kill.